Hello and welcome to another episode of Frogs Hollow TV. My name's Toby Cooper and joining me once again from Gunnedah is Geordie Batchelor. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, Todd.
That's good. We've got another huge episode tonight with a full wrap of the Milbrodale Mountain Classic, Patto's 7-hour, the Mumbannar 160, plus last weekend's Loveday Series and the Powranna 300 down in Tasmania. We'll also preview the upcoming Waikerie Hotel Riverland Enduro and the Zooms Cup at Linevale this weekend. Before we start tonight, I'd again like to acknowledge our incredible Frogs Hollow TV partners and contributors who have made season 2026 possible, with tonight said to be another cracking show. So straight into it, Jord, with a recap of the 2026 Headworld Milbrodale Mountain Classic, celebrating 40 years of the Hunter Valley Offroad Racing Association. It was a pleasure to be there live.
Yeah, I know. You went down live, mate. Looked like an unreal weekend down there, and the mountain didn't disappoint over the weekend. It had some great racing down there, didn't it?
It was. I mean, it was incredible all weekend. In particular, top four heading into that sort of Sunday afternoon long course. They were separated by just seconds for most of the race, but incredible display of racing from Josh Howes, who claimed his third outright victory at Milbrodale, and just what he needed. It's been a long time coming. Finally got that monkey off the back since his last win out at St George in 2022, but always, as I said, looked in control of the race from being trackside, but didn't have it his own way. Richo pushed him so hard in the Chenworth. And then you had Glennie Ackroyd, who just continues to go strength to strength in his Can-Am Maverick R, another sensational result for him. And Ali Howes, unfortunately, we saw what happened to her late on Sunday, with the final sort of 5 or 10 Ks of her event. She succumbed to the mountain, unfortunately, while in third spot. But yep, incredible action, and I think it'll go down as one of the great Milbrodale battles.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, mate. That top four all weekend, it went backwards and forwards, didn't it? And it was unreal watching it from home on the telly. I can only imagine what it was like live, mate. But yeah, full credit to Josh Howes. He definitely deserved that win. But as you said, Richo made him bloody work for him, mate. He pushed him that whole amount of kilometres they'd done over that weekend.
Yeah, he did. It was 288 Ks across the weekend, but it was Josh Howes, as I said, his 5th career victory now. He's got a good mate, Shawnee Harris, in the navigator's seat, and they seem to, gel well. And the Milbrodale weekend always brings success for Howes Motorsport, and, we're fortunate enough to catch up with Josh earlier in the week, but he is undoubtedly one of our finest competitors in the country, Josh Howes, and his sister Ali, though, very unlucky clipping that tree in those final moments, but she's driving well, mate.
Yeah, buddy, she is. She's the same as Richo, mate. They just ring the neck out of them pro lights, don't they? But yeah, very, very unlucky to not finish, like being in the top 3 as well. But there was only had to be one slight slip up, and there's nothing to say she couldn't have won the event, mate. She was in that position within striking distance all weekend. We had
perfect racing conditions, had a couple of mills overnight on the Saturday. It was pretty cool in the mornings, of course, down there, always is in the Hunter. But, hats off to everyone involved. Terrific weekend. Glennie Spizzo and Matty Martin finishing 4th and 5th, and they both, had strong weekends in their pro-light cars. And the side-by-side battle was on for the final podium positions, with Jake Conomos and Jaden Richardson-Parsons finishing ahead of Chrissy Holgate and Luke Stanley, the Tamworth lads. And they'll just pit for that 3rd position. I think Gatesy had a few issues over the weekend, but he was always thereabouts.
Yeah, he's the same, mate. That was another great race over that weekend, and he's very unlucky to not make that top 3.
And Sportslight champion Davey Mendham, back where he belongs, on top of the podium, finishing 9th out. I've actually camped near Dangerous Dave, and every time I see him, I just said, "You're getting quicker, mate," and I really think he is. He just goes strength to strength. Of course, the 2015 Milbrodale champion. I think it's going to take a lot to fall his way to get another Milbrodale title, but he just loves having fun, and it's always good to see the smiley Dave Mendham on the track.
Yeah, he's always a good character to be around, mate. Love being around Dave. He's really good with our kids and that too, and he's got a lot of time and patience, but you can never rule him out, and he's very consistent. He's always within that top 10, no matter where he goes. Richard
Wilton claimed the Super 1650 honours over Overwarrior is Mike Mitchell. Unfortunately, I had a few mechanical issues over the weekend. Didn't make the checkered flag, but I'm sure they'll be back at the next race. Sportsman Honours went to Jared Everly. Good to see Jared back. He had an early issue with his own sportsman's car and took control of his dad's vehicle, and he got that to the top spot, completed full distance. The Extreme Two-Wheel Drive win went to Warren Orens, who continued his nice run in 10th outright. Production 4-Wheel Drive went to Lucky Matusi in what he has said is his 92nd career class win. What a remarkable effort, and we're going to try and push him to that 100th title in class, but he just never seems to amaze. 86-year-old, and he gets out, grabs the chicken burger, nice fresh cappuccino, and the boys have a look over his Pajero, and he's good to go again. But mate, he's a remarkable competitor, Lucky Matusi.
Mate, what a feat! And I reckon I'll never have to go and watch him when he enters to win that 100th. I reckon we'll have to go over celebrate with him.
We'll have to get around him. The Extreme 4-Wheel Drive title went to Oliver Cokes. Good to see those guys across the line. The weekend wasn't without issues, Jord, with front runners Justin Guy, Matty Huxley, Tommy Dixon and Aaron McClintock all bowing out early. But again, always a special weekend at the mountain. Matty Nikiforos video on the Thursday night. I actually wasn't going till Friday lunchtime, and it probably tipped me over the edge because it was a great little production there. Also a special mention to Huddy at offroadracing.com.au for the incredible drone and action footage captured over the weekend, and we see it on the show tonight, Jord. It's nearly as good as it gets, mate, and we're very spoilt by our amazing media crews across the country.
No, we definitely are, Tobe, and the footage that came out from Milbrodale, it was unbelievable all weekend. It was unreal being able to watch them in not just the one spot, like you can watch them everywhere around the track, and I know definitely my eyes were glued to the TV, and then the kids chimed in, and then Mum was there as well, so he definitely had 5 people watching on.
Now on to the GT Civil Mumbannar 160, which was ran by the Millicent Sam Buggy Club back in May, round 3 of the 2026 Southern States Off-Road Club Challenge. We are sorry we did miss this review on our previous episode. It looked like another great weekend down in Victoria, and it was 2024 champion Glenn Pike and his son Blake who took home the outright honours in his V8 Razorback over now 3-time runner-up Dean Carter and local Class 10 charger Jake England. But one of those events, Jord, minimal dust, just wheel-to-wheel action, one day, 160 kilometres, they tick off, couple of heats each, and one of those cracking little events on the Aussie off-road calendar. Yeah,
mate, unbelievable. Get it all over and done with on the Saturday and then kick back, tell a few lies and have a few beers with everyone on the Saturday night. How good's that?
Yeah, they seem to get around it. And that Southern States Off-Road Club Challenge just continues to evolve and attain a lot more interest moving forward. And I think their next race is coming up soon, also hosted by the Millicent Club. Other winners, George, from Mumbannar included Darryl Nissen, finishing 4th outright, Class 2 champ Darren Oliver, who ran flawlessly over the weekend to finish 6th in his tiny built machine, with Brenton Davey, Jason Marks, Darren Franklin, Ash Ship and Heath Whedon all collecting class silverware at Mumbannar. Also a huge congratulations to Chris Sollett, who reigned supreme at last weekend's Patto's 7-hour in Charters Towers. Sollett completed 33 laps of the 15-kilometre layout, which is over 500 kilometres to win the annual memorial event, despite running solo after the late withdrawal of his teammate Peter Nuns, and that's some effort, Jord. He also completed Fink earlier in the month, so Chris Sollett in that Solico, it's incredible how tough those machines are.
Mate, he's definitely on a run, and full credit to him. I've got down and back to Fink and then to win that as well. Must put the time and effort into his car, mate.
Shane Dale in his Super 1650 car finished in 2nd, and the Battle Brothers out of Townsville, Kent and Seaton in their Element Prodigies rounded out the Patto's 7-hour Enduro in North Queensland. Round 2 of the Loveday Off-Road Series was also held on the weekend, and firstly, how good is the concept down there, Jord? From antiques to the next generation of off-road racing, there is something for everyone, and Tony Waitley has it all going on at the Loveday 4x4 Adventure Park.
Yeah, he definitely does, mate. It's an unreal concept down there, like as you just said, everything from the antiques to bringing the kids up and through it and the MX trucks, and it's definitely a spectacle down there, isn't it? I think there's 4 rounds this year.
I think they have one in early September and then at the end of sort of November. So, fantastic to see 9 kids take to the track at Loveday on the weekend, with Jai Hayworth crossing first ahead of Will and Ella Shipton in 2nd and 3rd. But young Jai Hayworth, we've had him on the show before, and I think in the next sort of 4 or 5 years we'll see him competing very high up in the standings at some of these bigger races.
Yeah, he's definitely got a natural talent for it, Tobe. He's bloody quick, isn't he?
He is. And then we also had the Rookies Award, which went to Robbie Ward in his truck, while Alan Morris claimed his maiden Antiques class victory. I think there was 4 competitors in each of those classes. So, yeah, hats off to Robbie Ward and Alan Morris. Off-road stalwart Steve Jones held on for a narrow win in the MX trucks, with Jed Bramley and Jess Gentle running out the podium. Another successful weekend at the Loveday 4x4 Adventure Park, Jord, down in South Australia, with round 3 at ORC up next in a few weeks' time. Can't wait for that one. Last weekend also saw the running of the inaugural Powranna 300, round 3 of the Tasmania Offroad Racing Championship, and it looked to be a fun but brutal 300-kilometre event, Jordan. From the 14 starters, just 2 competitors completed all 48 laps, mate, of the 6.5-kilometre Powranna circuit, and it was Tassie Offroad legend Hayden Tatnell who took the win, but geez, 48 laps over a 6.5-kilometre circuit in wettish conditions, that's a tough weekend.
Mate, hats off to him for completing 48 laps of that. Jesus. I've seen little bits and pieces of it, and it was definitely hard on the cars down there, mate. But, yeah, full hats off to him, mate.
Tasmanian Frogs Hollow TV reporters Johnny Walker and Ian Shepherd, they both said the track was brutal in parts, with big ruts, big rocks, tree roots obviously come up in the damp conditions. They had a lot of rain pre-event, but, yeah, only the 2 competitors crossed the line to complete full distance. And the second of those was Brad Innes in his Yamaha YXZ. So he was about 8 minutes off the pace of Hayden Tatton, of course. Class 10 champions David and Ian Shepherd secured third outright in their K24 powered machine. Other class winners from the Powranna 300 included Michael Stalker, Andrew Giffard, plus Jake and Clinton Salzberger. Now on to our first event preview on tonight's show, and it's the big one, the 2026 Waikerie Hotel Riverland Enduro in South Australia. Round 2 of the ARB Australian Off-Road Racing Championship, and we look set for another great weekend with a star-studded lineup of 45 competitors set for another epic showdown. Names such as Aaron Havey, Hilston champion Clayton Chapman, Young Gun Cole Tucker, Tommy Owen, the informed Jason Richards, side-by-side stars Conroy Devine and Lockie Campbell, last year's third place getter Greg Gartner, his new Tisco, Brad Gallard, Brett Comiskey, Jay Mitchell and Bodie Tickner. It's a stacked lineup once again, Jord. Prologue and short course action on Saturday, 6 60-kilometre laps on Sunday. Perfect track conditions by all reports from the club down there. And for you, who takes out round 2 of the ARB Australian Championship?
Well, it's a hard one to pick, as you just said. It's a star-studded lineup again, but I think I'm going to go with Clayton Chapman, mate, for the outright honours. But I'll tell you what, Richo's found some form as of late, and you can't rule him out. And also Havey, mate, how can you keep him out of contention with it too?
I'm going to go with young Cole Tucker. I think it's his first start of 2026. He's shown so much promise in his few races in the Jimco. He pulled out a think just to have the car perfect. He didn't want to rush into things. But I think Cole Tucker is going to be one to really watch out for on the weekend. Clayton Chapman will be always there. Tommy Owen. I'm going to go Cole Tucker, Clayton Chapman, and Greg Gartner in third spot. I think Gartner can bring the Tisco home. By all reports, it's definitely a buggy track after last year. Of course, our defending champion Toddy Lehman's not in the field. He's going to wait to pull the helmet on at the Loveday 400 in a few weeks. So, yes, all the best to everyone down there competing. Unfortunately, the 2 Howes cars pulled out earlier in the week, George, so we won't see them down there. But another one to sort of keep an eye on is Brad Gallard. He showed some good signs at the Fink, finishing in 5th. So I think he's a dark horse for a win down there. Also, I mentioned Hank Parker heading down to Waikerie for a run. Geez, Jord, after watching how tough last year's event was, it's going to be some effort for Hank the Tank to get that silver bullet home. Yeah,
I definitely, mate. After last year's event, and everyone that we spoke to said how treacherous it was, and geez, old Hank will definitely know better in the cruiser, mate.
If there's one man to bring it home, it's the Tank Parker, so we wish him all the best. Now, Jordan, on the second event taking place this weekend, the 2026 Zooms Cup 240 at Linevale in southeast Queensland, round 1 of the 2026 Queensland Motorsport Australia Championship. And again, it's going to be a great weekend over there, always is. Just the 14 entries at the time of recording, so hopefully I'll get a few late entries made. But there are some quality names amongst the field, including Laurie Svensson, Troy Duff in his Illumicraft, Michael Burton-Nazzi, Joey Bulmer, Tommy Darlington, Rossi Newman, Jackson Knott in the team's Can-Am, Justin Biggs, and of course, Waikerie Locals Johnny Batchelor with Super 1650 gun Zach Nugget Connolly stepping into the navigator duties for the weekend. Who wins the 240, Jord, on the weekend?
Well, it's hard to go past Troy Duff. I honestly think it's his race to lose, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think Laurie Svensson also, he's went over a couple of years ago and he's very quick over there.
Yeah.
Burton Azzy, I've got in the top three, and then I've got JB down as me roughie because I reckon that the navigator will definitely push the big fella all weekend.
Get him in that zone. I'm like you. I think Troy Duff is the clear standout speed and competitor there. He hasn't had the best of starts to his career in that Illumicraft. We've seen what he's done in the Prolite Gymco over the years, but if things fall his way, I know he's done a lot of work since the Gundy 250 in February. He's definitely the one to beat. I'm like you. I think Michael Burton-Nazzi, who's the club president now for Sequoia, so he's got a few duties on and off the track, but I think he can lay down a nice weekend. He's always fast in that rush truck, and I like your I reckon Batch can sneak his way onto the outright podium alongside Nugget. So we'll keep an eye on the Zooms Cup over the weekend, and hopefully, by the weekend they'll have around that 20 entries, and it's always a lot of fun. I got some word from the club officials. They've spent a lot of time and resources on grading the track over there. It's a notoriously brutal event, Jord, so I'm sure that'll be welcomed by all crews.
Yeah, mate, there'll be definitely some happy drivers over there over the weekend, especially them little Can-Ams and that stuff. Watching some of the footage from last year, they're bellying out, mate. It's a grader would have done that place a world of good.
Also, just around the corner, Jord, the Milchester Challenge up in Charters Towers and the Loveday 400, of course, round 3 of the 2026 ORC, and we'll bring you more from those events on the next episode. So that just about wraps up tonight's episode. Thanks again for joining me, Jord. It's been a pleasure as always, mate. Good luck and safe racing to those competing at Waikerie and Linevale this weekend, but more importantly, stay tuned for the next episode of Frogs Hollow TV. Cheerio.